What is up, game changers and soul warriors? My name is Juniper Blue Mystique. You have to forgive me. I choked on my own spit this morning, like literally, so I might cough a little. It's been a day. I am an ascension master, master healer, and divine guide. That is the easiest way to describe who I am. I am, in fact, the one who brought about the ascension. Okay. I always say, welcome to the end game, right? But it's not really a game, is it? It's not. It's very real. The reality in which you find yourself in is the end of days. It is the end of ways. Okay. That means we cannot live outside of God any longer. Now, if you're new to my channel, I encourage you to stick around and watch the videos. Some of you may already be very familiar with the work that I do. So, being that I am the one who brought about the ascension, it started happening to me in a Kundalini awakening in 2019. Excuse me. And then I started doing healings that I couldn't explain. These are not normal healings like everybody else. These are everything, medical grade healings. I was fixing heart machines and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I could see what caused Parkinson's. And so upon my awakening, I had heard, I'm not like anybody else. I'm here to change the world. And I thought that's what it meant, but I was wrong. Then I started doing things to the earth. It began doing in workshops. Spirit was like, do workshops. And I'm like, what's a workshop? And so recently I actually found my very first workshop again. And I posted it on here for all of you to see. And actually started doing those in April of 2020. And then by 11/11 of 2020, I cleared Mount Shasta Part 1, which was very relevant. And I showed you guys the other day also on my channel that people are actually getting downloads of what I've done and what is coming, and they're going to continue to do so, okay? So I'm not the only one seeing it anymore. I'm not the only one I am the only one who did it, but everybody's going to see it now. So after that, I was activating pyramids. I replaced what should have been at Fiji, which was the God portal, which is relevant because yesterday we did Fiji Part 2. I did Mount Shasta Part 2 about a month ago. I showed a little clip of that as well, and that's also on this channel. I upload them on this channel for people to see because it is biblical. It is God. Okay? This is the return of the gods. It's the return of Christ to this planet, which was taken away. And when I went yesterday, so yesterday we did Fiji Part 2, and I went there yesterday, and I saw how, so let me explain this. When I was activating in pyramids and things, right, everything started making more sense. I also took us into 7D. But when I was clearing Mount Shasta Part 2, one of the fallen angels, I burned him. Okay, I undid his contract at Mount Shasta, and I began burning him from his feet up. So he perished. His sword was actually burying the God portal. So yesterday we did a final workshop component for the ascension, which it's done. Okay, and now we are in the final timeline. So I'm going to tell you about that. We literally have a short period of time left. The complete separation of the new earth from the old earth is done, but that does not mean you will survive. Okay, so it's not a split in reality to where I get to live here connected to God and those who are not do not. No. See, I actually choked on my spit this morning. I'm like, what the heck? Go straight and kill myself. Not really. It was horrible. I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm a little behind. And every time I try to talk, it's still like there. But literally, you guys, yesterday, okay, we went into Fiji Part 2. I don't know if I'm going to upload this one or not. I might. Because honestly, what I got to do in that one is I went back to Fiji. And under the water in Fiji was where the pyramid was. And that was what I activated first. And then I returned the root chakra back to Fiji because they stole it and put it at Mount Shasta. And I had mentioned when I was clearing Mount Shasta that they needed continued bloodshed. That is why voodoo does what it does. That is why all these false religions say you have to sacrifice, right? And that is, they did mention vampires and things because I was reversing the blood cleanse. And then I was filling the Nile with more blood. because I also did the Nile too back in June. Okay, Spirit took my feet, put it in water, it turned blood red, and then it dried up. Which was really cool because there was actually a plant that had a leak in Japan and the river turned red. So it was really cool at that time. Forgive me. I was like not going to do a video because my throat, but this is actually really important. So even through my choking, you guys are going to have my presence. Yay! Yeah. But no, seriously. During the workshop, this video is not meant to induce fear. Okay, it's not. There are a lot of people who are speaking of the end days. This is the end of days. You literally have a little bit more time left to make it right with God. Okay, you have to clear your karma. So I've talked about the fact that every lifetime you've ever had is being measured. It's not just this one. So if you think you've had a righteous lifetime this time, it's better to make sure by healing, okay? And it can't be done just through prayer. So there's been a lot of videos that I've been showing you guys where they're like, pray. Yeah, pray. Ask God what to do. You know, tell God. It's all about the intention, right? It's truly about the intention that you have. So prayer does work. I would never negate that. I am with God. Trust me. The work that I did is God. My DM did die, so no, I'm not the masculine form. I'm not Jesus himself. I am his female counterpart. I am what they call the one. That's the best title to give. I don't like titles. We all need a title, right? Everybody's looking for Jesus, and that's great. He is still somewhere. I got a new DM somewhere, but he's having his own journey. Unfortunately, I did a lot of the ascension all by myself. But yesterday when we were doing Fiji, like I said, I like literally choked this morning and my throat is just not having it. Also, I talk about what the true cross is, okay? And what that meant and what that represented. And I think I'm just hesitating because I don't want people to A, shut down, because that doesn't hurt me, that hurts you, right? I don't want that. As the master healer that I am, as the person that I am, I will spark your shadow. And so a lot of people will get into their shadow and they like go into judgment, right? And they leave. And that's not what we want. So if I irritate you in any way, it just shows things you need to heal. Okay, so I just request that you maybe recognize that and let's heal it. All right. So what I'm trying to say here is yesterday we did Fiji part 2. What had happened originally was the fallen angels came down. They knew how to mess up the earth. Okay, they knew it. They knew how to mess up the earth. It was a big deal, right? Big deal. They knew what to do. They knew what to take away from God. They knew how to change everything to because they wanted God's power. All right, that's why it was done. Archangel Samael was the original fallen angel. There were others that followed after. And I can tell you that on my journey, when I first undid the collective and individual shadow, I actually ripped a soul out of one of them. But that was not Samael. When I did Mt Shasta part 2, Samael burned. Okay. So in Fiji, I had returned the root chakra and the triangle with eye over God's portal where it should be, because nobody could see clearly due to that. That's what that veil was. It was a false veil created by darkness. Okay. And they constantly had to have bloodshed. That's how they kept the vibration very low. And it was children all the way to adults. It wasn't just kids. But then you look at Hollywood and all the elites and the people that were in control. It truly was the Antichrist. Okay. And that's what's going to rise. When I did Fiji, they gave me a timeline. The timeline is not as long as some might want. And it also might spark people to go, oh, I've got time. And you don't. So there is only a little bit time left on this planet. And everything will perish except for what is going to God. Okay. So what does that mean? Well, it took me since 2019 to do all this because my DM. So there was my previous DM. I spent a year battling for his soul, to which I won it back. And then he still chose the fallen angel. So he was with the fallen angel. And he died 1 year ago on August 30th. And I got a walk-in who was supposed to be here by Christmas when I resurrected Jesus and Mary Magdalene and undid the false Holy Grail live on this channel. Okay, it came through live on this channel. I channeled it through, didn't know what was coming. But my DM again didn't show. So for me, it's been a very painful journey. It's very real. It's very raw. It's not just me channeling these things from God and delivering the messages. You guys, I did these, okay? The ascension itself is filled with 13 gates, not 12. It's 13 because they cut off the gates of heaven, all right? So when I dried up the Nile, I talked about that. That's what Spirit showed me. The Ankh is the true cross. They showed me what happened to the cross. Jesus did not die on the cross. He was poisoned by John the Apostle, which Revelation speaks of the apocalypse of John. Please forgive my voice. I don't know if it's going to get better at all. I literally choked on my spit this morning. I was like, I'm going to die. It was horrible. It's not funny. But you guys, these things are very real, and it's a vulnerability. Like, this is my personal life. This is my actual personal life playing out for you guys on this channel. And I just hope people can get out of it what they need. I hope to help people, because God, myself, didn't just bring this ascension about and be like, I don't care if you die or live. I want everybody to make it. I truly do. But unfortunately, we've already lost members of the 144,000 because they go into judgment against me. And judgment's not of God, okay? So be very mindful of that. Judgment is not of God, all right? And I think at this point, there's a common consensus that this is the end of days, or the end of the ways, okay? Not everybody will perish, but I will tell you about 80% of the population probably will. Most of those, however, I don't know about 80, maybe 75%. Let's correct that. Most of those, however, were not of the light at all, okay? And others chose too far into darkness, like my DM had, okay? So I do have one that is alive. That happened through a workshop as well on this channel, okay? I gotta get a drink. Hang on, I'm gonna get my coffee so that I can continue talking to y'all, because this is important. And I'm trying to tread lightly with how I deliver this one, because I don't want, it's not to spark fear. Fear is not of God either. Let me swallow that slowly so I don't choke again. So fear is not of God either, okay? So that's not what this is about. And it is very real. I can actually prove everything I'm saying to you guys. And I've also walked a few people now through the gates because I hold the keys, okay? I hold the keys. What does that mean? Well, this is a lot to explain. After I did Fiji yesterday and I opened up the God portal, the gods returned. Okay, they came through with a vengeance. It was Archangel Samael's sword that was shoved in it with a ton of like, what looked like concrete bricks on top of it. And my DM was there in the energy. He was, and so was Malachi. It wasn't just Malachi. They let me know that my DM wanted to be there in the energy. And so he got to be. And this one was not painful for me at all. I didn't have to undo any contracts. Those are all done. I have already cleansed out all of the shadow off of this planet, okay? Or El Diablo, Lucifer, whatever you want to call it. It has many, many names. The Antichrist, that's another one that people use. But they literally tore up the whole entire planet. They stole it from God. They killed me. They've killed my DM. On multiple occasions, they separated the divine masculine from the divine feminine. And that was part of what I returned, okay? So I'm trying to tread lightly with how I deliver this, because I do want people to take it seriously. But in the fact that you just need to heal, I have all the keys, okay? I wouldn't tell you that, hey, you're going to die tomorrow, and then not give you any way out. Is it tomorrow? No. They showed me the final countdown. It's 2 cycles. 1 and then 2. That is all that's left. We are in a final karmic play out. That's phase 4. So you will start to see karma play out. Okay, the gods came out with a vengeance. Let me tell you, because they were trapped in some weird vortex. And then I did see vampires. So they were real. They were. because I started reversing the blood, and it was like coming out of fangs. It was coming out of the earth. And it went into the Nile, because I told you I'd turn the Nile blood red, and then eventually it'll dry up at the end. And at the end of the cycle, it will be dried up. Okay. Yesterday too, I walked on water. Not like I don't do these physically, I do these energetically. But I literally did. So I took people to Fiji and I walked on the water. And then I divided the water in half. And then the pyramid was there, and then the God portal was there. And I removed the DM, removed the stones, or Malachi, or what. Malachi said it was the DM. But that guy let him do most of the work. So I don't know what that means. But he was removing the stones, okay, from the portal. And then I pulled out the sword. And the sword was massive. Like, it was large. And at one point, I guess he carried the violet flame, because that's what they said. It used to glow with violet. But when I pulled it out, it was void. There was no energy left because I killed him. He burned when I cleared Mt Shasta Part 2. That's why it was so important. I just wish people would watch these things, because I want you all to make it. I really do. And it's not about fear. And you can call me crazy. It does sound kind of cuckoo. But the fact is, it happened to and through... Excuse me, I'm having issues today. It happened to and through me. I have felt it. My DM died, and that's when I swelled up. I used to be really fit and about 130 pounds. And when my DM died, God said it was going to hurt. And I had to accept it. I had to allow it to happen. And I swelled up. So this journey has been very painful for me. Not to mention, I almost died myself 3 times. If it weren't for my Alchemy Academy and my graduates, I wouldn't be here. There was one point where I was attacked by the 3 fallen angels. They blew out my solar plexus. They shoved swords into them. Then I was throwing up this foam stuff energetically, truly. And then you want to talk about a true exorcism, that's really how it plays out. And then I was throwing up energetically these cockroaches. And then there was all this black tar stuff. It was horrible. And it took quite a few healings to heal me and to be okay. Every tooth in my mouth hurt because they took everything I had. It almost, I don't know how I survived. And that's when Spirit called me mahogany. But I made it, you guys. I made it all the way through. And maybe I did it by myself. And that's okay, right? I do have a DM. He does have to join me eventually. I'm supposed to have one. But that's a very painful part of my journey. So I don't really want to talk about it too much more. But when I tell you these things are very real, they are. It's not just me prophesizing it. It's not just me channeling it from Creator, from Spirit. I never read the Bible ever. I knew it was fake from the time I was born. The church just never felt right to me. They always told me I was going to go to hell if I didn't do this, that, and the other. And I was like, I guess I'm going to hell. So none of that made sense to me, okay? I was just a single mom, had my psychology degree, and was raising my kids after being abused my whole life. And that's all I was doing. I was just doing that. And then my life changed, okay? 2019, I had a major Kundalini awakening that I caused on myself. I didn't know what I was doing. It was just trauma, and I needed to do it. But then, like I said, I started doing these things. It started with raising Atlantis. I sat on Saturn with Hermes, rose Atlantis. Then I cleared Mt Shasta. Then we repaired Fiji, activated the pyramid there. And then I activated pyramids all over the globe. Yesterday, too, I can't remember, though, we did something in Machu Picchu. So there was this key thing in Machu Picchu. I just remembered that. And I fixed it. I rotated it and I put it back down. It was a false pretense, people couldn't see the truth because of it, and I fixed that too. So the entire false veil is gone, you guys. It's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. There is no more false veil, okay? And you hear people talking about that, oh, the veil is lifting, but it's I just wish I could get them to see everything that I've done, and that's okay, right? It's okay. I do what I do regardless, okay? And I speak truth. So if it sparks fear in you, or if it sparks judgment, don't run. Let's heal it. Because you have to heal that. Now, here's something really important I want to talk to you about. Just because God has returned, Jesus has brought about the ascension, or whatever you want to call me, Does that mean that you are rightfully able to go through? No. What do you have to do to get through? You have to make sure all your karma is cleansed. So we are in a karma play out, okay? And nobody can run from their karma. There is exactly 2 years left from yesterday. Now, here's the thing with that timeline. It is moldable. What does that mean? You literally only have 2 years left from yesterday to heal everything that you can heal, to align with that of the one, and to get your heart review. Because in the end, you get a heart review. I do them. Either myself or God. And that's it. Nobody else does them. I hold the keys. I've given 3 out so far. And then I got 1 too. Because I walked through the gates. And then 3 of my graduates walked through the gates. They did every portal activation with me. They got all their DNA activations. Because you have to be DNA viable. You have to be pure of the heart. You have to purge your shadow. Okay? I will tell you, the gods rose with vengeance, and they went all over the planet, already reconstructing, removing, repairing, and like, crap's gonna get real, my friends, okay? And I talked about Mount Shasta, I've talked about California, I've talked about the change in tides coming in San Francisco, and then not only me now, God gave that download to somebody else, and I showed that yesterday as well. And I'm like, see? God told me he was going to get people downloads of what I've done, and it's going to continue. And they're going to know it was a female now, too, is what they said. But, and so I show you guys proof. I show you guys what I said about the submersible was true. I show you guys when I say things, it happens. That's the way spirituality works. That's the law. I don't like the word law because it's moldable, right? Everything can move. Energy moves. Things can change. Things can rearrange. And that's the same thing for the final timeline. So we have entered phase 4, which is a karmic play out. It is a karmic purge. You will suffer your karmic life. You will suffer your karmic play out. That's judgment of God. Okay, God doesn't judge anything. But we do have to measure your heart space. So if your heart is not pure, if you anchored into the shadow, if you can't see clearly, right? The veil isn't necessarily lifting all the way for you. Heal it. Okay, you have to heal it because it's not just this lifetime. So you can consider, well, I was good this lifetime. Yeah, but were you all the other 100 lifetimes you may have had? Or however many? Because each lifetime is combined into this one. Okay? And so we literally have to clear out and purge the shadow out of every bit of what we are. This isn't one layer at a time. And I remember on my journey, I did a thing where it helps you receive the DNA and light codes in Christ light because not everybody just can. Like if you are knee deep in the shadow, you block it. You can't get it. You have to heal to certain levels. I also talked about putting the animals through the portals. And when I did that, it would kick them back. So I would do it like 3 portals at a time because I activated the portals. There's 13 gates. That's what they are. Each gate represents a different level of enlightenment, a different level of vibrational raise and cleanse. And I was putting all the animals through not that long ago, and it was witnessed. I don't know if I recorded that one though, because it was so cool. I would like put them through. I would have my group members help me. We would put them in a bubble, and I would send them through the portals, and it would kick them back. Certain ones that were not DNA viable, ones were grown out of petri dishes and created from all kinds of limbs. I could repair some of their DNA, but some of them I could not. And they didn't get to make it through. And that was a karma kickback. So whoever did that to them will repay that karma. Okay? And so we are going to literally, the portals are open. You have no choice but to go through them. And if you're kicked back in karma, you have to play out your karma. That's why I kept saying your contracts are so important. Do not eliminate them. There was somebody going around eliminating a lot of contracts, and that put a detriment in the ascension soul. If you anchored into Mount Shasta or did any like spiritual work in Mount Shasta, that was not of God at all. And you need to purge that. Okay. You only literally have 2 years left to heal. God said though, that if enough, that he's already measured hearts, right? We already know whose hearts are what. We already know what has to play out for you. And so within that 2 years, if everybody goes through that's meant to go through, it's done. It won't be 2 years. Does that make sense? So that timeline is stretched out already because of what happened on the ascension. We had to create new timelines, and the DM put people behind on it. It wasn't his fault. It was my original DM that died. He put people behind big time, and he hurt the ascension bad. Okay, and none of us made it. Almost. I almost died, and we almost didn't make it at all. I hadn't returned Christ at that point. I hadn't undone the false Holy Grail at that point. They literally tried hard to sabotage this journey, and I don't know how I made it past my DM because I went against him. I would just stayed with God, okay? So is it always easy? No. The shadow wants you, okay? It's like a possession, right? It doesn't want to be free from you. We've cleared Catholicism. I cleared Salem. I cleared so much of this earth. And yesterday I separated it completely. And now you have a choice to make it through the gates and get right with God and make it through and do your heart review, clear your karma contract, get the key, and get into the gates. That's how it works. I hold all the keys. That's what they said. I know exactly what it takes. Okay. Everybody has different things to heal, but your karma is important. Everybody has it. I don't care who you are. We all have some karma to clear. Okay. I did with my family. I had to clear like all drugs too, like because of my DM. Oh, that was hard. That was like addictions I've never felt before. And I had to stand strong against it and not fall prey to it. Luckily, though, I wasn't a drug addict, right? The only thing I ever did was smoke pot, but my DM was into major drugs. But so is all of the drugs were created by the same people who don't want you to make it. The Antichrist will be revealed. So in this 2 years' time, you're going to watch everything play out. You're going to watch California go under. You're going to watch people die. It's just what it is. Okay? It's not about fear. I'm not here to spark fear. I'm here to tell you that this is what I've done. This is what's coming. This is the return of Christ. It is a karmic play out. So you can choose to be involved in that karma, or you can be like, you know what? We're saved. I want heaven on earth. I want beauty. I want grace. I want God. And do I know how to get you there? Yes, I do. I hold all the keys. Okay. Literally, when I do heart reviews, I give them their key and I walk them through the gates. And I clear all of their karmic contract because I can read their heart. There's only 2 individuals that can do that. That's me and God. Okay. So there's a few people in the gates, but not quite a lot. But yesterday we also lit up all 144,000 that are viable because not everybody made it through. And we lit up the dome of protection. And then I pulled out the sword and I opened up the portal of the gods, and then they rose. One of them rose out of like the sand, like massive. And it's what you would call giants because in the time of Atlantis, we were all giants. We only became so small because the energy was so dense. Okay. So consider that. Everything is going to unfold right in front of your eyes. I don't like the term, get your popcorn. That's harsh. Do you really want to watch people perish? I don't. I want everybody to make it. Okay. But unfortunately, not everybody will. This is a reality. So you can either try to choose to follow others, you can follow your heart. That's what I said yesterday. I embodied the sun and I said, it's time to come home. Okay. You are now being called home. This is why they call it the chosen ones. It's either you can hear the call, you choose to heal, you choose to get all the DNA activations, which are not just given to you just because, okay? And prayer is not enough. Does prayer help? Yes. God hears you and tries to put you on the right path, okay? It's intention. Like, please, God, help me. Please, God, I want this. And they're like, okay, we got you. Do this. But the fact is, you got to do this, right? Like, I can only lead so many people to water, but I can't make everybody drink it, right? I can't make you heal. I can't make you get your DNA activations. I can only literally tell you over and over again until I'm blue in the face, hopefully not, what you got to do. I had to heal. I had to go against the shadow the whole entire way for every which way it took down God, okay? Sekhmet and Horus, Adam and Eve, and Jesus and Mary Magdalene. And then one where I didn't wake up, all right? So I had to heal 4 lifetimes. That was mine. I haven't been here that much, okay? And this is not the first attempt at doing this, but this is the first time I've survived, all right? And that's what they told me. So this has been attempted before, and we didn't make it. And we almost didn't make it this time, but it's done. There's no going back at all. The final countdown is now. It started yesterday. You are in phase 4. And please don't go into fear. There is no need to fear because you're powerful. You are a powerful creator. You choose your outcome. You choose whether you want to heal and align to God. Okay? Period. Now, there were some people going through those things with me, and they would get cut off after certain portals because they went into judgment, they went into the shadow, and they didn't make it through. So each portal you go in, you have lessons to clear from your past, and it could be not this lifetime, it could be others. It could also be your ancestors, because you are here to help your ancestors through. So when my DM didn't make it, I was sad because he had a kid, he had family that didn't get to make it through either. It is that big of a deal. This is the end of ways. This is the great reset. So since all of the Antichrist has perished and will continue to do so, where do you go? Is it what they call heaven and hell? It's heaven. You get to stay with God, or everything you know is erased either way. You will not be who you once were. You will anchor into that darkness, and you will have to start from scratch somewhere else. So you won't stay here, okay? That's the reality of it, my friends. You're about to watch for the next maybe 2 years. It depends on how long it takes for everybody to find their way home. So people like myself and only the ones who've gone through the gates can truly help people get through. Okay, God does have helpers, right? He does. We see them. But we can't make people listen. We keep trying. I show you what I did. I literally show you the truth, the proof, everything, and still people go into judgment. They don't want to watch it. They don't want to heal. If you literally purchased all of the work that I did and you allow me to heal you, you could be through that gate in 6 months to a year. Not a joke. Okay, so is 2 years enough time? Yes. I literally do hold all the keys because I've done it. I sat here and did it for others. Okay, they went through all my workshops, they got all the DNA activations, they do my healings, and then they did my academy, so I taught them how to heal, which I have that as well for everybody. It's no longer one-on-one. I'm doing a group academy now for light healers, because even if you stay here, you can't heal unless you're activated. What does that mean? Unless you've had Christ light going through you, the DNA activations, unless you're upgrading and ascending, you're not healing through the light of God, because God has returned. So we must either align to it or we're aligning to something else. That is your only choice. Okay? So do the work. Just heal. Get the DNA activations. Get through every portal. Heal your shadow. Clear your karma. Take your power back. Get those DNA activations. Focus on you. Okay? So even if you're a twin flame, make sure you focus on you. Get the healing. Get it done. Because this is the end. We are in the final timeline. And by the end of this, the Nile will be dried up. And it's done. It's either you stay here or you perish and you start all over someplace else. And God will not be there. It's a reset. It's not just as simple as, oh, we'll try again next lifetime. You won't have the same anything. You won't know anything. It'll be a complete reset. Okay? And again, this is through love. I love you all, and I want everybody to make it through. God doesn't just go, oh, I'm changing this world, and none of you have a choice. Like, boom, it's done. No, it's God saying, look, I gave you my child. I gave you all the ways. I gave you all the keys. I literally had her do this, this, and this, and show you all, even though she didn't want to, because I didn't want to. I fought God. I'm like, God, people don't listen to me. I fought him the whole way. I don't want a YouTube channel. He's like, but yours is different. I'm like, oh my God, there's so many of them. And they're like, but yours is different. Like, I don't want to be judged. And they're like, you just got to do this. So I would listen, and I didn't even know what it meant. I had no idea that I was going to bring the ascension out, through, and play it out for all of you to witness and see. I had no idea who I was. And chances are you don't either yet. Because they kept you so far from that. And they would get us to anchor into darkness so much. All right? So pay attention, get through those portals, do the healing, get the activations, take your power back so that myself or God can do your heart review. Clear your karmic contract. Let's say though, because there was this person eliminating, there was a few of them, they were false. They were doing it through the false light, especially if they were working at Mount Shasta and stuff. Like, that's really dark. I watched this. I witnessed it. I saw it, and God told me that was a detriment. I felt it in the collective heart. Okay, your contracts are important. They're here for a reason. You need to learn from them to love through them. They are ways that we win against God in our lifetimes. That's what your contracts are for. You wrote them before you came here in agreement that you were going to help each other clear that and to come back to love, to come back to God through them. And so when they were eliminating them, which we used to be able to do, because you used to be able to come back in another lifetime and clear them. You can't do that anymore. Every lifetime is playing out right now. Everything you've ever done is right now. Okay, there's no reversed, there's no forward unless you make it forward. So when I went through the gates, and those that went through the gates with me so far, you get a blank slate. You rewrite your reality. You literally get a blank slate out of the records and a pen, and everything you once did has been healed and erased. Okay? And so you can sit here and go, I've had a perfect life this time. Yeah, but what about your ancestors? What about your past lives? You don't know. Okay? Can a lot of healers heal you that quickly? No. It's in layers. I can. Okay? I know what I'm talking about. I've seen it happen. I've healed many people already. So trust me when I tell you, you can do it. 2 years, you can do it in less. You can do it in 1. 6 months maybe. You can do it in 1. Okay? So if in 1 year's time, everybody that's meant to heal has healed and made it through, it's done. It won't be 2 years. God gave us extra time because of what happened to me on this journey. Otherwise, it would already be done. Okay? So now we need to align with your heart, follow those nudges, heal every which way, and don't let the shadow take you down. It will try. Okay? Be careful listening to others because they will try to sway you. I've seen that happen many times over as well. And a lot of them are your karmic play out. Okay? So pay attention, understand what you're doing, and get through those gates because I'd love to give you your keys. Okay? We are in the final countdown. You are literally going to watch karma play out all over the world. This is the karmic timeline. Phase 4. Welcome. And check out my channel. If you guys really think I'm crazy, don't leave. Just watch my workshops. Watch everything I've done. That's all I ask. And then in your heart, you can form an opinion. Okay? So much love to all of you. I don't want to grab popcorn. I want to help people heal. I'll see you later.